Uh,
Alright, there we go. Welcome back. We made it to week 2. We aren't dead yet. Challenges Korea hasn't suddenly been suspended, and we're still here.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
just the two of us today. Just myself, Takeoff, and I'm joined always by Slothy.
yeah. Pleasure to be here, like always, man.
Yep.
But man, this was a quite the interesting weekend in Challengers Korea, if I do say so. Starting off a little slow. A lot of things that were expected, but there was also a lot of things that were beyond expectations here, and you know, quite happy with this first week. I want to see how the first 3 weeks go before I make I guess overall judgments about teams, but overall there was a lot of telling things for the teams that played 2 games.
Mhm.
Or yeah,
Hold on, sorry. I am distracted because I'm
yeah.
trying to find something. Someone asked me a
Oh,
question, and for some reason I'm not able to find anymore.
all right.
One second, one second. I know I'm gonna find this. It'll only take me, like,
Yeah.
less
Oh,
than. Or maybe they deleted the tweet and it's just not there anymore. I'm not gonna be able to know what the question is.
yeah.
It's very possible.
The day of the disappearing tweets.
It'd be like that. Yeah, I can't
Really?
find it.
Did you?
All right, so I guess I'm not gonna be able to answer that question. But anyway, sorry. Can you say what you said just one more time? Because I was distracted trying to find it.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that were expected this week, a lot of things that were unexpected, and
Mm.
you know, that's pretty much how I feel about this week right here.
Yeah, it was
Uh,
a very
yeah,
interesting week.
yeah,
We had some teams that we thought were gonna do well, some teams we didn't think
yeah,
were gonna do well,
yeah.
and some of the teams just right hit the mark where we expected. And let's talk about some teams that we expected to do well. For me personally, I think High Fresh Blade. I think is the easy answer for that one for a team that I expect that did exactly how I expected. I
Yeah.
thought it was pretty much going to be. They did a little bit better than I thought. I knew it was going to be an easy win from Griffin. I thought maybe Griffin could have put up a win, but
Yeah.
they weren't able to. They came close, but unfortunately, High Fresh Blade were just the better team at the end of the day.
Yeah. Um. Yeah. I think that I also agree with that sentiment. They were also my team that I felt like met expectations for them this week. But I think it'd be kind of disingenuous to say that that they're a team that would be able to exceed expectations because we pretty much unanimously decided that we believe that they're taking the entire split.
Hmm.
So they can't really exceed being the best in the league.
They
There's
could
not really,
like just
yeah,
completely go
yeah,
like if they had a perfect season I would be surprised. I don't think they're at the perfect season level. That's the way
yeah,
they could like
yeah, yeah,
exceed expectations.
yeah,
They can have like
yeah, yeah,
a
but
perfect season and
yeah,
I just
yeah,
be weirded out.
yeah. Yeah, I guess I guess like what I want to make sure is clear for everyone here that that if you're close enough to the ceiling, you can't go too much higher than that, and they're pretty dang close. So it's gonna take a lot for them to exceed the expectations we have for them in this split.
I think pretty much
Uh,
until they lose to a team that I feel like they shouldn't lose to, they're always going to be like my at
yeah,
par team. But on the note of
yeah,
par, let's talk about some teams that we
yeah,
feel like we're above par, and I'm pretty sure we both have the same answer for this one too, which it has to be ESC.
yeah.
ESC without a doubt, it very much so
They,
exceeded my expectations.
oh yeah, and part of it, um, they did exceed. I did put it for my exceed expectations one as well. I do want to point out though that first game against OZ was a complete blunder. It was very hard to watch,
Yeah.
and and I I'm really, I guess, the first game is what I expected of them. I expected them to just kind of get run over for the most part because
Yeah.
I wasn't sure about these players. I don't know them yet, but games 2 and 3 they put on a whole new face for us. Gon ended up carrying the second game, and I guess in the third game he reverted kind of back to what was happening in the first game, kind of losing a lot in the lane. But they put him on a champion that's a little bit more forgiving than the Azir if he does die often early on in the game. They put him on Oriana, which with Oriana with one item and one good ulti, you're pretty much back in the game.
Yeah, in game one, I hate to be so critical of a team, but quite honestly, it looked like they forgot how to play League of Legends. Um, but game two and three, they were just a completely different team, and they came back and they had a very good game, and it was really pleasantly surprised with how they did. And that's not an easy team to beat, although OZ did finish
Yeah.
towards the bottom. They were sixth place if I recall last split. They were
Yeah.
one of the best teams towards the end of the split. They had quite the win
Yeah.
streak going, and they had that entire offseason to figure each
Yeah.
other out. And they're not an easy team
Yeah.
to beat because later on they ended up 2-0ing Alma Mystic.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
so that shows how well ESC are going to do this year. Hopefully, if they continue to play
Yeah.
at their best. On the
Yeah.
note of Element Mystic, I almost put them
Hmm.
at the team that I felt missed expectations the most. I was very close to putting
Hmm.
them there, but I ended up going with
Hmm.
Awesome Spear for mine.
Hmm.
But I want to know who you picked before I explain why I picked Awesome Spear.
I actually picked Griffin in this one.
Oh, okay,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
okay. I would disagree with you on that one. I
Mhm.
feel. I mean,
Yeah.
did
I
you
mean,
expect them to beat
I'll
Breon
explain.
Blade?
No, 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 no. I expected them to look better than they did. And I don't know if it was compositional things. We saw the same style being played two times in a row. They put Wayne onto the Azir. They put him into a mage bot lane. And although mages are okay being played in the bot lane right now, I think that takes an extreme amount of coordination and understanding of the game that you would expect someone that came down from LCK into CK to have, and they just didn't show it.
Well, to be
They didn't
fair,
show.
to be
Yeah,
fair, Wayne's
yeah,
was a
yeah,
trainee, no? So I mean, he's
yeah,
basically at
yeah,
the CK
yeah,
level.
yeah,
When it comes,
yeah,
in my opinion, when it comes to like
yeah,
the LCK versus
yeah,
CK level,
yeah, yeah,
it's like you have your top. Usually,
yeah,
hopefully, this isn't always the case.
yeah, yeah,
As we see in LCK, sometimes
yeah,
there are some players
yeah.
who a lot of people think don't deserve to be there. I'm not
Mhm.
gonna call out any names, but usually you have your top 10 players in LCK in an ideal world, and then you
Yeah.
have your 11th through 18th in CK.
Mhm.
And usually trainees are around that CK level, and we see that from whenever teams, scrimmage, academy teams, they almost
Mhm.
always beat the trainee teams.
Yeah.
Almost always. I don't think I've ever seen like I've seen Breon Blade beat academy teams. I've seen Runaway beat academy teams.
Yeah.
Um, I saw Runaway's old team beat academy teams. I
Yeah.
saw Where Are You From beat academy teams.
Yep.
It's so like
Yeah.
this the gap between CK and trainee
And
is still noticeable.
yeah. I guess my bigger thing is like if this is the case, right? If this is the
Mhm.
case, why are the coaches putting them in a position where they are going to be struggling in this right here? It didn't show that they had the understanding to pull off this composition, yet they tried to run a similar composition 2 games in a row and
Well,
failing on both efforts.
to be fair, game one at first it did look like the Azir Karma was going to be nasty. Like
Mm-hmm.
they were the
Yeah.
I think it was LS was talking about it how like the
Yeah.
best way to counter Yumi is with range, and Karma and
Yeah.
Azir have just ridiculous poke range,
Do this or
and they were
yeah.
just punishing the Aphelios
Mhm.
Yumi lane until they
Yeah.
tried to go aggressive, and Henna just outplayed them at that point. And I
Yeah.
think so they were very close to making it work. Now game two was a completely
Yeah.
different case, obviously.
Yeah.
Um,
I think one of the things to note right there was the the agency that mid lane had for both of these games. You put Nahyun on the Zed
oh,
in the first game.
mm,
He played the Zed and he did play it fairly well. But here's the thing: even though he was playing it fairly well, he did get a solo kill onto I think in that game it was Fire
Fire
Rain.
Rain,
Yeah,
yeah.
Fire Rain played that game, and then Roy played second game. But he got a solo kill onto Fire Rain right there. But the thing is, both champions had the same kind of concept for what they're playing. You have the TF, you have the Zed. You're not really playing around winning that lane. You're planning on winning other lanes for them. You're planning on going bot and winning that lane. You're
Hmm.
planning on going top and winning their lane. That's kind of the concept behind these champions. Roaming, getting out of there and doing that. And with both them having the same, I guess, skill set in that, it just kind of locked him into this stale mid battle, and he wasn't able to break out from that and really start to move the pieces that need to be moved for Griffin to win the game.
With
Now, another point for that game right there is Weiser played very well in that first game, and that was kind of the saving grace of High Fresh Blood in the first one.
I
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
what Griffin, I think they'll continue to do this throughout the year, just because I feel like it's what Nathan's going to do best in Challengers Korea.
Yeah.
Which, like, they picked the Z farm game one, they picked the Jace farm game two. They're picking stuff for him that's going to win the early game for him in lane,
Yeah, the
and
Jace game too.
yeah, and
Yeah.
I think they're just trying to set up a lane kingdom in the mid lane with Nahun and have him, like you said, then set up your side lanes. But I don't really blame Nahun for the losses. I feel like it's pretty difficult to win your side lanes whenever they lose them before you can do anything about it. And in game one, like I said, that Azir engage just completely lost in that bot lane from after they gave that double. I don't remember if it was a single kill or double kill, but after they gave the Aphelios that kill, I think it was a single kill. It was
Yeah.
just impossible for them to fight Aphelios Yumi or poke them at that point because they could just walk up and fight them, and you can't really beat them at that point. So and then top lane, I mean, it's Weiser. What are you gonna do? It's Weiser. He's not
Yeah.
Weiser's not
Yeah.
gonna lose lane unless your name is Thal.
Yep. But again, like I also like this is why I think they felt a little bit below expectations for me. I did not expect them to do super well, but I expected them to do better. I expected them to, I guess, if they are going to
Eh,
have this sort of understanding of it and put Nahion in this position where they need to carry, they need to give the whole team a composition where he's able to do that then. Instead of saying, all right, um, here you go. Here's something that can kind of influence the early game. Good luck, everyone else. Like, yeah,
I don't know. I mean, like,
that's not going to cut it for me.
mm, I feel like
Yeah.
Griffin's coaching staff did. I feel like the comp is good in theory if the idea is Nahun get a lane kingdom started and then go to your side lanes and help them because like you have. Well, actually,
Yeah.
no, not really for the bot lane, and I'll get into that. Because, like, top lane, you
Yeah.
have the Mordekaiser, which what you can do is you can ult the Aatrox, and then you have your jungler in mid come, and then Aatrox comes out of Death Realm, and then suddenly it's a 3v1, and what is he going to do?
Yep.
But the problem with that is you're expecting Weiser to misplay to be to the point where Hoya can ult him, and then be
Yeah.
in that ultimate in long enough for Citrus and Nahun to come up, and Mighty Bear not be able to react to it, or in that
Mm-hmm.
case, it was Fire Rain, he could have possibly TF ulted top. So that's kind of
Mm-hmm.
ruined there. And then bot lane, sure, your bot lane is set up to win, but your bot lane is
Yeah.
also set up to suppress them under their tower. And it's very hard to gank a. I don't know if you guys know this, but it's very hard to gank a. It's very hard to gank a lane if they're stuck under tower 24/7. Very hard
That.
because then you have to tower dive, and that's very risky, especially against the Yumi when she gets level 6.
Yeah.
It's basically impossible to tower dive her. It's just it
Yeah.
wasn't. I agree with you there. It was a good idea, but it wasn't a very good. If they didn't do a
Yeah.
very good job of setting up
Yeah.
the teammates
It,
of thriving with that idea.
yeah. And I guess like it's not. I'm pointing out single players. I'm pointing out like the organization as a whole. I expected them to be a little more reformed, a little bit like tighter on some of the things, but it just wasn't there for me.
Yeah. But the team that I picked that I feel like underperformed this week was Spear Gaming, who
Yeah.
uh, I I did think that Jin Air was going to best them there, but I did think that they did have a chance to take a game off Runaway based on the
Mhm.
fact that they took a game off Jin Air. And they basically
Yeah.
just let Runaway run over them, which I feel was a bit disappointing. And the fact that they went 0-2 and they went, I think it was 1-3. Yeah, 1-3.
Hmm.
I feel like they were the most disappointing. I would have expected them to take two games. I would have expected like a 2-3 before, or or not 2-3. God damn it, 2-1. It was 1-4, but they should have gone.
Yeah.
I feel like 2-4. I was expecting one more game on there
Yeah.
at the least.
Yeah.
Not a lot of teams really underperformed for me, in my opinion. I feel like the only team that underperformed was Awesome Spear. OZ,
Yeah.
I almost picked them for my underperformance, but they made it up by beating Element Mystic. So good for them.
Not
Uh,
just beating Element Mystic, they 2-0'd them. I
oh
think
yeah, they
that's
2-0'd them.
significant.
That's the big thing there. They swept them.
And it wasn't just that. Like that first game was a stomp.
It was. Yeah.
That first game was just complete obliteration.
It was a really
from
weird.
OC's
That match was really weird. Both those matches on day 3 were really weird.
side.
It was like it felt like Groundhog Day or something. I don't know. It was
Yeah.
like it just didn't feel real watching Runaway 2-0 Awesome Spear in the way that they did. It didn't feel real watching Mask play the way that he did. And
Yeah.
it didn't feel real watching OZ play the way that they did, especially Element Mystic playing the way that they
Yeah.
did. It was just really weird. It was a
Yeah.
really weird day.
Yeah, you can put that up to a lot maybe first week jitters and this sort of thing, but this is their second game of the split. Both of these teams were coming in, or one of them had more things to prove than the other one, especially like OZ losing to ESC Shane like they did in that first one. They I think they came in, they fixed a lot of the mistakes that they were making against ESC Shane, and they brought together again. And like I can't stress this enough. Like the they played around when they were able to fight really well that game. They played around cooldown. Slugger's TP was on cooldown. What did they do? They instantly set up for a play bot lane. They do that. Soars behind the minion wave. He TPs in. He gets on top of them. And from there, they just keep on snowballing the game. They perpetuating what they created in the early game, which that's something you kind of expect out of higher end teams.
Hmm.
So who knows? OZ might surprise us and be a couple spots higher than we expected them to be uh, in this
Maybe
season.
they
Yeah,
they had. If I feel like if they 2-0 next week, they have
yeah,
Awesome Spear and Griffin. I feel like that'll if they can 2-0, then I will be like, okay, this is a potential playoff team. This is a team that
yeah,
we should take seriously. This isn't the same OZ as last split, but they have to 2-0 next week for me to take them seriously.
yeah.
Um, on the note
Same
of
here.
2-0ing, Griffin have a very low chance of 2-0ing next week because they face Jin Air and then they face OZ. That's gonna be very tough for them. It's gonna be very tough.
Oh yeah, man. Yeah, it's gonna be quite the time. And like I said, they did not meet my expectations of this week. Um, if they can't, I guess, form some kind of cohesion or show a different kind of comp that they're willing to run into these teams, I think that they're just going to be exploited again. I think Jinair, even though they lost that first game to Awesome Sphere, they kind of tightened the bolts. They played really well in games 2 and 3. And I think that they'll be able to 2-0 them pretty, I wouldn't say like, I wouldn't say
Wait,
easily.
did
I would
I
say,
did I did I say Jin Air? Did I say Jin Air?
yeah,
I
play
meant
against
to
Jinair.
I meant to say
No, you said,
Griffin. Oh
no,
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 Griffin
Griffin.
playing against
Yeah,
Jin
Griffin
Air and then
plays
Griffin
Jinair. That's
playing
what I'm
against
talking
OZ.
about. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
sorry.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we can do that. And if we see the tightened OZ that we saw against Element Mystic, yeah, I don't think they stand a chance in that one. Um,
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting.
especially especially because if you think about it too, the way that Griffin was trying to play, they're trying to play through mid lane to influence the other game, have this sort of like trickle down effect from the mid lane. That's not gonna fly. That's not gonna fly into people like Crown or Ian.
Yeah, Crown and Ian. It's gonna be very. That's actually a mid lane matchup I'm looking forward to. Is Griffin when we have Neun versus Crown and Ian. Another matchup I'm looking forward to is Element Mystic versus ESC. You have two very young cores facing off
Mhm.
against each other. Both these teams really need to win this game. This match, I should say. Very important match. Day one of
Um,
next week is really weird because you have like Element Mystic versus ESC, two young cores. Then you have Jin Air versus Griffin, which would have been an LCK match a year ago.
yeah,
Which is
yeah. That's
that, that's an LCK match if it happened a year ago.
I mean, you're not wrong. You're not
It's
wrong
so
there.
bizarre.
Um,
That's so bizarre.
but yeah, I agree. I think for that matchup right there, I think the players to watch is going to be in the top lane. You have Slugger versus Lapis, and the Lapis in the games that they played, he showed up and he showed up really well.
Hmm.
So we'll have to see.
Yeah.
Um, I think where there's the biggest discrepancy is from what we saw in the jungle. Flair, the unexpected jungler of the week,
Oh.
kind of ran away
Oh,
that.
you have flares you're talking about. Well, I have another unexpected
Well,
jungler of the week.
I didn't put him as my top
Oh.
juggler of the
Oh.
week. I was debating on it, but the thing is, day 3 kind of threw that for a loop.
Hmm.
Um,
Flare
I
did
mean,
okay still. I think he still
yeah,
did okay. All things considered, I wouldn't blame the loss on him.
I wouldn't either, but I think it stems from other. It definitely stems from other issues. Like the first blood that was given up was like, you know, the team wasn't protecting that red buff. So he's like, oh, okay, I'm gonna go do it. And guess what? All of a sudden, you have 4 OZ members on your red buff at that point in time.
That's just when
And
you type
yeah,
mid chai and just leave the game.
yeah. Yeah, it's kind of hard saying that right there. I mean, like that first game he didn't play bad. He did not play super bad right there. It's a little unfortunate right there. Uh, the thing is, Now, the bigger question mark is the second game. You're playing a high agency jungler like Nidalee, and you don't get much done in the end. Um,
Yeah, I
it's
wasn't a
kind of
fan
a
of the
hard.
Nidalee pick. I wasn't a big fan of that one.
I was a fan of it on the first one because they
Yeah,
had they ran the same two people in the top lane, and that worked out really well right there. The
yeah.
problem was that they had a different mid lane. They had a different mid lane champion, and the thing is, like, you have the Nidalee and Kiana, and like realistically, where is your kill gonna come from? Like, that's too skill shot reliant. There's not enough CC coming in. Yeah, you get the burst. You can get the burst out right there, but playing into something like a TF, you can just stun one up underneath tower, and if you're not playing it right, you're just gonna get utterly obliterated. Um, and then it's just too much early agency for that team. You have to like hard stomp mid, hard stomp the jungle matchup for that composition to realistically succeed.
Well,
It's just not.
in their defense, I would have expected them to
Yeah.
do exactly that, though. I feel like
Yeah.
on paper, Element Mystic should have just run over OZ on
Oh yeah.
paper. But it just not everything happens on paper. I feel like a big
Yeah.
thing was Element Mystic disrespecting OZ. I feel like that's
Mhm.
a really big factor to them losing. They just didn't take like you have to take OZ as a team of like seasoned players. You can't make
Mhm.
mistakes that
Yeah.
can if you don't give them opportunities
Yeah.
to exploit your mistakes, they won't win the game in my opinion. I think that's where
Yeah.
you lose the game with OZ is giving them opportunities like what you said, going up to an unprotected red buff. Stuff like that
Yeah.
is going to lose you the game
Yeah.
because OZ are going to be able to exploit you for that because they have the experience to know that these mistakes are going to be made, especially by such a young team.
Mm. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Definitely. Um, So
Uh,
I guess that's kind of my stance on
yeah,
where Element Mystic is in this one right here. They played two very hot and cold
yeah,
series.
they were completely different teams with Runaway and OZ.
Yeah.
So yeah, day one, very good day. Element Mystic, ESC, Griffin, generic. Day two, I think it's gonna be a little bit more tame. You have Breon Blade versus, or I guess High Fresh Blade versus
Yeah.
Runaway, but they still use BRB. You
Yeah.
have OC
Yeah.
versus Awesome Spear, but day three is gonna be hot. You got Generic versus Element Mystic. You got OZ versus Griffin. Gonna be good
Yeah.
games. Don't miss out. But I want to go back to week
They,
one because I want to
yeah. Yeah.
talk about all teams. I want to talk about
All
all
teams.
teams. All
All
right.
right. All right.
So what I had us both do is I had us both
Yeah.
pick top jungle and mid ADC support, best players at all positions, and two substitutes, so two players that weren't on any of that. I had player of the week, and I did a match of the week. I
Hmm.
don't know if you picked one because I didn't tell you to, but you might have one
Yeah.
in your mind. I don't know if you do.
Oh, I
Okay,
do. I do.
let's talk about that one
Yeah.
first.
Yeah.
For mine, I picked Janair versus Awesome Spear. I feel like that was the match of the week. Those had very exciting games to them, and it was a pleasure to cast. It was very fun to cast, and
Yeah.
it was a great match. It was a great match. That's why I picked it as my match of the week. Very exciting. He had a nice reverse sweep on the back of Yaharong. It was just a great
Yeah.
day for him. It was very
Yeah, man.
entertaining.
Yeah. I mean, he didn't even play too bad in the first game either. It was a
Yeah.
little unfortunate. Um, but I guess I can attest to that. I guess like my bigger one is just because this was the unexpected team. My match of the week was ESC versus OZ. I think like if you watch game one, you're like, okay, yeah, this is how I expect them to play. But then you get to see glimpses of ESC and what they might be able to do in this season in games 2 and 3, albeit they don't look refined. They don't look like they're ready to just kind of take this league or go far in it yet. But the thing is, you can see the bits and pieces in there, and when they shine pretty brightly.
Mhm.
So I guess that's why I picked that one.
All right. So let's go bring it on over to top lane. I want to know who you picked
Yeah.
for your top laner.
Oh, Wiser for sure, man.
Wiser.
He
I
made it so Griffin couldn't even play, man.
Yeah.
Both
Wiser.
games, both
Wiser.
games.
Wiser had a really good day. I gave mine to Tana. I feel like he was a really
Yeah,
important like secondary role to that Janair comeback. Um,
definitely.
he also looked really great in lane. I now looking back, I probably should have given it to Wiser. I kind of overlooked that, but
Yeah, I mean, like, yeah, you can have a good game, but for me, Wiser, he like deleted entire enemy player, made it look like
yeah.
it was a 4v5 for most of it. Like, there's just nothing they
I
could do.
If I'm not mistaken though,
Yeah,
Tana
yeah.
at the end of day two was leading in overall kills though, and that's what made me decide. Originally, I was gonna give it to Slugger. That was originally
Okay.
my because he had that nice triple
Yeah,
kill, but then day three happened. I was like, yeah, I can't pick this dude. But yeah, Tana
he,
had the most kills at the end of day two, if I recall.
yeah, yep,
So I mean, you have
Um,
that. You have I think he had best KDA overall, best kills
yeah,
per game overall.
yeah,
I
yeah,
don't know, it's just
and yeah.
top shy.
For me, right. For me right there, one of the matchups was the Wukong into the Renekton,
Hmm.
and being the Wukong that was wiser right there, he did his job and just didn't die to the
Oh,
Renekton.
his ultimates were
Like,
so good with the Wukong too. Oh my
yeah,
goodness.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I made a
So I
mistake
guess
not picking Wiser. Damn it.
yeah. I mean that's just me personally. I think that was like the bigger thing right there. Yeah, like
Yeah,
getting the
yeah.
kills is really good, but you have the Aatrox for Tana for that game and for both games.
Yeah.
So like that's kind of expected to be getting kills on there. Now, when you're playing into the matchup that is the Renekton and Wukong, after playing that hot first game on the Aatrox, that secondary matchup right there, or that second matchup right there, his job was just to not die and find openings to dive onto the enemy backline. He just consistently did that for me.
Yeah. He had a fantastic game overall. I regret
Yeah.
not picking him, but I'm standing by my Tana pick. I'm standing
I mean,
by it. I'm not switching up.
I can agree. I can agree with that, man.
Now,
Because I mean, like it's really hard to make these picks, but yeah,
now jungle. This is
yeah,
where it gets interesting. You don't know who I
yeah.
picked. I want you to guess.
Yeah.
Guess who I picked. Make one guess. It's a hot take. It's a really
A
hot
hot
take.
take.
It's a hot take.
The hottest take. If it's
The
the hottest take, if it's the hottest take, I'm gonna say Leah, but no.
who?
If it's the hottest take, I'm gonna say Leah, but that's I know that's not it.
No, that's not it.
Um, I'm gonna say Mujin for yours.
Close. You're very close. It's
Yeah,
broccoli. Broccoli was my
broadly.
jungler of the week. I
That
feel like
yeah,
I feel
yeah,
like their win,
yeah,
um,
yeah,
their win against Elma Mystic,
yeah.
he was basically the secondary carry both those games.
He was the enabler, to be honest.
Yeah, he the reason they don't win those games. In my opinion, listen, I love Juhan.
Yeah,
I'm Juhan's biggest fan, baby. But listen,
yeah,
if
yeah,
you
we
have
know.
Juhan instead of Broccoli there, I'm a fan of both those junglers. Broccoli and Juhan, special place in
Yeah,
my heart. But if you
yeah.
have who's their third string jungler? Again,
Uh,
it's
I forget the
Bluff.
name.
Bluff.
Bluff.
If
Yeah,
you
Bluff.
have Bluff in there, that
Yeah,
those aren't wins. Those aren't wins. Broccoli being in there and him having the initiative that he does, and he's always had the initiative. He just doesn't always make the right plays, but he has the
yeah.
initiative always. And because he has that initiative, I feel like they're able to take over both those games, which is why I put him at Jungler of the Week. Also, in their loss against ESC, he didn't do bad.
No, he didn't.
He didn't do bad at all, in my opinion.
No, not at all. I think that there were other external factors during in that game that kind of pushed them aside.
Yeah.
That so they weren't gonna win that one. But the thing is, like in that third game when Juhan came in, like I don't know, maybe Broccoli could have done better there. So I can definitely attest to that one. Um, for me, I honestly put I and again this one, like Mujin was mine.
Mujen,
I think
that's
yeah.
not a bad pick.
I think he really helped enable Runaway to win
Hmm.
those games against I guess Awesome Spear. I just want to call him Spear still, but I guess I have to
I
throw
mean,
the
if
A
you
in.
call them spear, you're technically not wrong. They still have spear in their name.
Yeah,
You
man,
just
that's true.
you can't call High Fresh Blade Breon Blade because they don't have Breon in their name. But they still use BRB. I'm so
Oh,
confused. It doesn't make sense.
yeah, man. I mean, like, if
Nothing
you're
makes
gonna do that,
sense.
at least go for HYB, man. Come on,
Yeah, I don't
or
know why.
HFB, HFB, HYB. Yeah,
I feel like HYF would have been nice. Like High
HYF.
Fresh.
Yeah, High
HYF.
Fresh, man.
High Fresh.
High Fresh. I'm down to just call them High Fresh.
I'm down to call them Colgate
Colgate.
Blade. Colgate
Yeah,
Blade.
yeah, man.
But
Yeah,
yeah, that's not a bad pick with Muchin. I agree with that one. Now mid lane, you better pick
yeah.
the same thing as me because I had this person also as my player of the week, and I hope we pick the same person. Who'd you
We,
pick as
we,
your mid lane?
we 100% did not. This is
Oh,
my hot take of the week.
oh, who'd you pick?
This is my hot take of the week.
You picked Gone. I know you picked Gone.
No, I didn't. I picked
Oh,
Ian.
you
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I picked Ian. No, he's gone. He's gone. He's gone. He's out of here. He's out of here.
Ian wasn't. I feel like Ian didn't even do better than Crown this week.
Wait, what?
I feel like Crown did better than Ian this week. It's just my personal opinion.
Yeah. So
But
who'd you
I
pick
I
for
picked
mid?
Yaharong. I picked Yaharong.
Yeah, wrong.
Yeah, I feel
Okay,
like Yaharong
I
was
was.
just
Here's the thing for that game right there. Is it Yaharong or is it him playing Zoe? That's my big thing right there.
It
I
doesn't
think
matter if you could be playing Zoe, you could be playing Malzahar, you could be playing Nautilus,
yeah
you could be playing Ezreal, man. For all I care, he carried those series. Okay, he was doing the big boy damage.
yeah he
They
did
do not win that game if they don't have Yaharong on their team, which is
yeah
why I put him as mid of the week. And
yeah.
also,
Oh, player of the
so
week.
did you not see this man play? He was out of his mind. He didn't
He did
miss
play.
any. I feel like he didn't miss any skill shots. He had a
Yeah.
great day.
Yeah. Well, I think
I just stopped
I
thinking.
think
It doesn't tell me that you don't agree with me about Yaharong. That doesn't tell me. I understand. But what tells
yeah
me, and you have a lot of explaining to do, which I want you to
yeah
do
yeah
right
right there.
now. Why did
Yeah.
you pick Ian? I want to
Why did I
know.
pick mid? Because I don't think any of the other mids had consistent enough performances besides I guess Yaharong. But again, I think the Zoe is the bigger carry in
Ah,
this kind of
get out
situation
of here.
here.
Get out of
I mean
here.
that's kind of bad. Now now yeah. So I think right there, like, yeah, you're in a team where you're sharing time with Crown,
Yeah.
right? And I don't really think the loss to ESC was his fault. He was doing amazing in that game against Gone. He was going in there. He was getting kills on him repeatedly. He was setting up the kills and just catching Gone out time after time after time. And he was doing his job in these games. It's the other pieces around him that kind of fell through in the end and allowed Gone to get back into the game. Now, on the second hand, when they played Element Mystic, he played that TF match. He played TF really, really well that game. He pretty much denied Kiana from going anywhere on the map. And if she did, he just instantly followed and got her. And Eon was one of the biggest, I guess, consistent inconsistencies for us last year. And to see him kind of play like this and play to this caliber this week is kind of why I had to put him as my mid of the week. So
I don't understand. I'll let you have this one just this time. If I get you
yeah,
putting Eon on the list again, though, we're gonna have a problem. Let's move on
yeah,
before I get too
yeah,
triggered. This is
yeah,
kind of
yeah,
my hot take, but I feel like it
yeah,
isn't that hot of a take. It's not as hot as
yeah,
broccoli. My
yeah.
ADC of the week was Beanie. Beanie. How do you pronounce that name?
Beanie, beanie,
Beanie. Yeah.
beanie.
Did you
Yeah.
have the same?
Yeah. I
Yeah.
definitely did put
Bot.
beanie right there.
it-
Um,
Whenever you have bot lane kingdom against Pilot, you're doing something right. It's really
yeah,
hard to beat Pilot in lane. I don't think I've ever seen Pilot lose lane except for matchups where you 100% lose.
yeah, uh,
Pilot had some matchups where I fully expected him to win, despite just because of the experience gap and the talent gap between him and Beanie
yeah,
on paper was just massive. In game one he had a good game, but game two and three,
yeah.
Pilot didn't look like Pilot at all, and it takes a lot of talent to do that. And I feel like it was mostly Beanie that had to do with that, and so I gave him ADC of the week
Yeah.
just because smurfing on Pilot is quite the achievement.
Yeah. I definitely can see that right there. Um, I'm gonna have to say Okid for mine. In the losses, he was consistent. In the wins, he was fair. He didn't play too bad either. Um,
I respect that. I got
and
some O-Kid
yeah,
bias. I got some
yeah,
O-Kid bias. I
yeah.
respect that.
I do have a slight Okid bias. But the reason why I'm picking this one right here, and I can agree to this ESC pick is what I'm going to pick later on down the line. But anyways,
Ah,
um, furthermore, yeah, like they played really well in the pilot, and they did their job. They performed it even in the loss. It wasn't on the bot lane. It was mid and top that were getting caught out and killed repeatedly on cooldown. And is even extended into the third game for ESC Shane, where Gon again was just being caught up by Ian almost the entire game. Um, so I can see that for sure.
yeah.
Uh, I just I just kind of think that in that sense right there, Beanie was kind of swinging uh, back and forth. He wasn't really taking control of anything. I like to see that a little bit more, but we'll have to see in this upcoming week. I think this will be the real telltale sign. How do they do against Element Mystic, who I guess got swept. They got swept by the team that they end up beating. But the thing is, it depends on what ESC Shane shows up. Is it ESC Shane game 2 or is it ESC Shane
Game
game
one.
1? Yeah.
Now let's take it
Yeah.
down to my personal favorite role, support.
Yep.
Mine's
Same
not
here.
too long of an
Yeah.
explanation. I picked Mean It because
Mhm.
for me to have a good day as a support, Nova knows this well, Mean It
Yeah.
knows this well, and Googer knows this well. You
Yeah.
don't let anything be your fault. You're
Hmm.
proactive and you're making plays,
Yeah.
and you're doing what you should be in team fights.
Hmm.
And Minute wasn't like he didn't have like whenever Zeus had that Thresh game where he's like just carrying the team. He didn't ever have a moment like that. But
Yeah.
Zeus also had really bad moments this week. At the same time as also having that really good Thresh game. But Meaning
Mm.
consistently in both those games was just really good at that support position. And so I feel like I have to give him support of the week just because
Mhm.
he was doing the best. He was the best support. He's just doing what you should as a support perfectly. He wasn't doing too much, and he certainly wasn't dead weight to his team.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I I can attest to that. Um my my bigger one for the week was actually Harp. I think Harp played very well right there this week. Um he played 3 games into a Yumi,
Mm.
which if you're doing things right, you should be able to do some things. He had the picks for it, and the thing is, he performed in the last 2 games on it. The first game were a little bit harder, but second game, he was really aggressive in that third game as Karma. He was up in Pilot's face all the time. He's like, "All right, you know what? I don't care that you're Yumi. I don't care that you're just gonna be trying to slow me down and harass me right there. I'm gonna be in your ADC's face. I'm gonna make him arcane shift backwards. I'm gonna kick him out of this lane, along with your stupid cat ass, and I'm going to just take it over." And I feel like he did that.
Yeah, his karma was really clean. I agree there, but
Yeah,
I don't
yeah,
know. He,
yeah,
for me,
yeah,
Minion support God, gone
yeah.
well.
He did well.
Very good job. I feel like he did very good. Now,
Yeah,
I'm gonna move on to subs. So
yeah. Subs.
my first sub, I feel like the
Yeah.
best player that wasn't mentioned in previously was
Mm.
Mask. I feel like Mask had a fantastic debut in CK. He did very well.
Yep.
Was a really big part of Runaway's win. I feel like the
Yeah.
biggest part, but I might be a little bit biased because he's a T1 trainee,
Yeah.
and I love T1 trainees. I don't like T1 players that much, but T1 trainees,
Yeah.
I love them. You gotta love them.
You do, man. One of my favorite players is still a T1 trainee at the
Who's
moment.
that?
So closer.
Closer? Yeah, Closer's really good. Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Um,
He's an
why do
absolute
they have
monster.
like three mid lane trainees? They have
I don't
Closer,
know,
they have
dude.
All Might, and they have somebody else.
I mean, they're trying to like bank off the faker potential right there,
Yeah.
man. They're creating them and then they're selling them, dude. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, no, I think that mid lane is a very crucial role. I think it's one of the most flexible roles in terms of what can be played in it.
hmm
So I think having multiple trainees is not a bad idea for that
You
role.
could
The
always
more that
do the rich
yeah,
strategy and just roll swap one of them top lane.
yeah, and I mean like they do have a lot of overlapping champ pools in there right there, and there's also quite a few champions that can be played mid that you can also rotate down into the bot lane, both from the AD carry perspective and from the mage perspective. So I think that's a very important thing to keep in mind on those.
Who did you put as your sub though? This is the first sub.
Uh, my first sub was actually Henna.
Henna. Okay.
Henna. I
I
think he
like
did
that.
really well.
I like that. I think
I
he did
think he
really
did
well too.
in those games against Griffin.
Now,
I think yeah,
I I do want to say real quick before you do your explanation. Did you
yeah.
put Gon as your second sub?
Gone is my second sub.
Okay,
No, I
good.
did not.
No, you didn't. You didn't put
No,
so you didn't put Gon at all on your list.
I didn't put Gone on my list because I think that he is definitely one of those people that is way too exploitable right now. He did exceed our expectations
That is
because we
your
did not
game. That
have him.
is your game. That is
That
your
is
game.
your game. He
That
played
was
out
like
of his
that
mind.
was like out of any
Yeah,
player that had like the
yeah,
single best game, just that
yeah,
one game. One game. I think Gon had
yeah.
the best single game with that is your game. That is your game was nuts.
Yeah,
What?
here's
Go
the
ahead.
thing.
Go ahead. I want you
Here's
to
the
explain the
thing
Henna
though.
thing though. Explain the Henna
The
thing
Hannah thing.
first. Yeah.
Well, I think he played rather consistently around what his team needed to do, especially in the first game. Like he stopped the bot lane dive. He stopped them from doing that. He actually got the kill onto the Azir, right? And like he was getting I guess kind of donkey dongered in lane, was getting put down, and he ended up turning it around. He ended up finding his opening, and he took it, and he just was consistent from there on out. Same thing after that, right there. He played when his team was willing to set him up, and I think out of any of the other ADCs, I think he probably played one of the better games of the split. I'm gonna preface this with saying I cannot, in good conscience, um, say that I didn't give Yaharong MVP and or MVP or mid of the week while playing Zoe, while Hannah only played um Aphelios. I think that would be a little
Interesting
disingenuous.
logic there.
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. I mean,
Aphelios
I
is
can't
basically
say
the
that.
Zoe of ADC. Come on.
Yeah, exactly. I can't doing that. But what I can say is that he played his role for the game perfectly, and
Okay.
that's kind of what I'm looking for. Like, the more you understand your champions, you can do that. Now, I guess in my contest of why I didn't put Gone in here at all is I don't know how you can go from having uh that Azir game into that Oriana game into the Azir. You'd be like, all right, I just did this, and then I'm gonna watch it have it be done to me. Like, I don't think I can consciously put him
He
into that
still had.
position.
Listen, he
Yeah,
didn't rush. He didn't build
yeah,
Morello very early, which I was not a fan
yeah,
of. But he
yeah.
still did have one or two really good ultimates, and
He did,
and
he did.
he's still
Yeah,
also, I think,
yeah, yeah,
wait,
yeah,
yeah. Besides,
yeah,
oh no, I'm very wrong. What I was gonna say, so I'm not even gonna say it. But he had the
yeah.
most kills on his team. He did have the most kills on his team.
Yeah, I mean, in that Oriana game, he did turn around. I think that is a positive point right there, and I think if he can build upon the stuff that he did while tuning in to those mistakes and fixing them up, I think we see an easily top 4 mid laner.
The reason why I put
Yeah.
him as my second
Mhm.
sub, I'm gonna say
Yeah.
it again. That is
Yeah.
your game was the most
Yeah.
disgusting performance I've seen in CK in a since like Crown's debut in CK. Like that first Syndra game that he had, I think it was Syndra. I don't remember who it was, but that
Yeah.
first game that Crown had in CK was like I feel like the best single performance last year. But
Yeah.
like, that is your game from Gone was just disgustingly so amazing. But I do want to ask. I did
Yeah.
already say who I put as my MVP. I put it as Yaharong, and I already explained why.
Yeah.
But I want to ask, who
Yeah.
did you put as your MVP, player of the week?
My
Who'd you put?
my player of the week. Uh,
If you say Ian,
I'm not gonna say Ian. I was gonna say Ian just to tilt you, and then I was gonna take it away. No, I honestly put it as Harp. Harp is my player of the week.
that's okay.
I'm a little biased on this front right here, but I think he did a good job enabling his team with the picks he had, and he only made a couple of mistakes in the games. Mispositioning in one of the fights against OZ, but it was in their win. But I think that he did a good job of peeling for his team on the champions he had. He took advantage of the tools he had. I'm gonna give him the MVP of the week for me. And another person that would have stood out for me would have been Flair if they didn't have that 2-0 loss to OZ. I think he would have been my MVP to be honest, and he would have made it all the way in.
Say again.
Flair would have had it if they didn't lose 2-0.
Slugger would have had it if he didn't lose. Yeah, Slugger was gonna be my
Yeah,
MVP originally because of that
yeah,
that triple kill with Hecarim was so good.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
and
man.
that Hecarim game in general was amazing. Slugger did really well
Yeah,
in this first
yeah,
game. Didn't do so hot in the second game. Hopefully he'll come back. But real quick, I want to go over the matches
yeah,
for next week, and I
yeah,
want to get your
yeah,
predictions. If we have the same prediction, it's good.
yeah.
If we don't, I want to have a brief conversation about it, and after that, we'll wrap it up. So first off, I'm a Mystic ESC. I feel like that's kind of coin flip, but I think in theory ESC should win that one.
I'm actually, as I stated before, it depends on what element mystic shows up. If the first element mystic shows up, if this keyword thing, I don't know. I don't know what
That's
happened that the second series.
honestly, that's
I'm
such like
not
that's
like
such an if
yeah.
matchup. I feel like it's hard to predict.
You
It's
know,
such an if
it
matchup.
it's really hard to predict. I see this game going 3 games either way, but
Yeah,
again, it's a coin flip. I have it
yeah.
slightly leaning towards Element Mystic, depending on how Flare plays. Because I don't think that Leah has shown us enough to give to have us say, they have consistent enough people in all the positions. We talked about their bot lane. Their bot lane is something that we want to look at this year, and we both kind of agreed that their bot lane is something that we can respect after that first game of OZ. Mystic, on the other hand, they kind of have this hot jungler, and Leah did not really show up in these games. So I think that that's my bigger thing. I'm a little biased towards having the jungle as the piece that moves everything around the map to make sure that everything's in place. So
I think
I'm gonna
that I think that a hierarchy puts it in favor of ESC just because ESC beat
yeah
OZ 2-1 and then
yeah
OZ beat Elma
yeah
Mystic 2-0. So in theory,
yeah
ESC should beat Elma Mystic. So
yeah
I have it slightly in their favor, just
mhm.
because simple math. It's quick maths. It's quick maths.
Yeah. It is
Slothy.
quick math, dude. It is
So
quick math.
on the note of quick, Griffin versus
Mhm.
Jinner. I think it's going to be a very quick. You're not gonna like this. I think it's gonna be a quick
Mm.
2-0 for Griffin. That's my prediction. I'm gonna say
For
2-0 for
Griffin,
Griffin. 2-0.
two zero for
2-0.
Griffin. I think
2-0.
I honestly think it's gonna be a two. I think it's gonna be a 2-1 for Griffin.
Yeah, I think Griffin had their hiccup against Brionne Blade. That's quite.
Mhm.
I think Brionne Blade are going to be the best team this year. So in their
Yeah,
defense, I expected them to lose that game, but I don't expect them to lose against Janair, certainly. On the note of Brionne Blade, next week, Runaway 2-0. That's easy to call. Brionne Blade 2-0 against Runaway. That's so easy to call.
yeah. I can definitely see the 2-0 coming in, but I would put this as a 25% chance that it's a 2-1 Breon Blade. There's like a
Yeah,
25%
20.
chance
Yeah.
that Runaway does get one game in there. They do sneak one quick little sucker punch in there, and then they run away.
I mean, yeah, I think if they start Mask,
Yeah,
maybe two. I think
yeah,
maybe they could win 2-1 if they start Mask. I'd like to see that how they do with Mask. Maybe
yeah.
they can win,
I think,
but we'll
yeah.
see.
Putting Mask in over Edge, I think that would be
I
the
think Mask
biggest.
over Edge is like has to be the. I love Edge as a
Yeah,
big Kongdu fan,
yeah,
but I feel like Mask
yeah,
has to be starting over Edge for a long time
yep,
until
yep.
until Mask becomes a problem. But I think like I think it's like 80% likely Brown Blade win that one. I
Oh
think it's
yeah,
the
right
same
there,
thing
right there.
for OZ.
Even yeah. I think that on paper their mids are way stronger. The only contention I would say I put Mask above Roy, but if you have Fire Rain, I don't know if you would start him over that, knowing that you're going to be playing into Mask.
Um,
Um,
Now
moving on to
OZ.
yeah, yeah,
Austin Spear again. I feel like another 80%. I feel like 80% likely OZ are gonna win that one.
yeah. Like I said, it's the 80% that they're going to win, and then I think that Awesome Spear could take a game off them. We'll have to see.
I think until Austin Spear figure themselves out, I'm always gonna have them losing games.
Yeah,
I think in their current state, there's not anybody that they could beat. But it's
they,
very easy to fix to take a step back and look at their team and
yeah,
figure out what's wrong because they did that in
yeah,
playoffs. They beat Breon Blade.
yeah, they
They've
did.
shown their coaching staff has shown that they are capable of taking a step back and looking at the team and saying, okay, this is what's wrong. We're gonna fix that.
But
Um,
they got rid of some of their coaching staff, as we
that's
talked about
true.
before.
Yeah, it's a. I believe in them. I believe in them. I know they can do it. I know they can do it. I know. Day three is where it gets interesting. Janair versus Element Mystic. I couldn't tell you who's gonna win that one. I honestly can't tell you. That's gonna be a very good match.
I mean, that's going to be one of the ones to see right there. And depending on how Griffin does against Jin Air, I mean, if it's as expected, this OZ versus Griffin matchup is going to be another hot one to watch.
Yeah,
Um,
I think both those games. I think after day one, we'll know who's gonna win those games for sure.
all right, so I'm noticing a pattern right here. If Elemistic plays on the first day of the schedule, they win 2-0 and they lose
Ooh, wait a
2-0.
minute.
So
We might be
so
on to
Jin Air is
something.
gonna win the matchup against Element Mystic, but Element Mystic's gonna be ESC.
That would be so weird. That would be very element. That would be very like Element Mystic though. That'd be very
Yeah,
Element Mystic.
that'd be on brand for them.
Jin Air gonna get their revenge for Element Mystic for sending them into relegations, I guess. But
Yeah, yeah.
um, that's gonna be it for this time.
Yeah.
How long did we take this time? Oh, we didn't
Yeah.
even take 15 minutes. That's a lot shorter
Yeah.
than last episode. Wow.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. I think because we were covering so much in the last episode, I think
that's
this
true.
one is kind of more of a rundown right here,
Also,
getting everything figured out.
we have two people versus three, and that definitely helps too.
Yeah,
Having three people,
yeah.
like everyone has to speak their mind. But on the note of three people, we are gonna have a third person next week. Oh,
Ooh,
ooh,
ooh, ooh,
yes.
ooh. Tell
I'm,
him who we're bringing on.
I'm gonna absolutely slaughter this name.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
okay, let me think about how to pronounce this last name. Okay, Jacob Kornechki, I think is his last name. But he is a former Origin analyst, currently an analyst for Fenerbahce Esports.
Yeah.
He's a CK fan himself, so he and I were talking. I was like, "Hey, I'd love to have you on." I offered him this week. He said he was busy because Fenerbahce is running a lot of scrims. But next week
Yeah.
is going to be the week where he comes on. It's going to be fun.
Ooh, I'm
Uh,
excited.
so make
I'm
sure
definitely excited.
ask all your questions for him, for us, about CK, about everything. I'm excited
Yeah.
because it's an actual esports analyst, and he's gonna have probably the best opinion out of us three. But
Yeah, he's gonna rip our opinions to shreds.
yeah, he's gonna hit us. He's gonna hit us with it. I'm gonna ask him about buying tier. Do it, Merkable. I believe. I believe in
Dude,
it.
ask him about buying tier. Ask him about me putting Ian
Yeah,
in the mid lane MVP and see what he says.
Ian. God damn.
But yeah,
Okay. Well, anyways, thanks so much
yeah,
for all
yeah,
those watching, for all those that came
yeah.
in to watch. Uh, as always, I'm Takeoff. That's Slothy
Uh,
right there. Can't see him,
over
but he's
here,
right there. Wait,
yo,
right there. He's right there.
yeah, I am here, and I do see what's going on in chat right here. Now, I do agree. Ardent Sensor is my favorite item on Lee
Ardently,
Sin. On
ardently,
Lee. We
ardently,
already
baby.
proved it. I proved it before. I forgot if I proved it on this stream.
You
Was it this
did,
stream that I
you did,
proved
you
it? I
proved
did.
it.
I proved that Ardent Lee is one of my patented ideas because I have the Twitch name
I
for
don't
it, and
count it.
that's how this works.
I don't count it. I don't count it. But thanks so much, everybody, for coming by. Make sure to
Yeah.
watch CK. For those that don't know, it's going to be starting in Korean Standard Time at 1400, which for those that don't know military time, it is 2 p.m. It's going to be
It is
LM
2
Mystic
p.m.
versus ESC, and then after that it will be 1700, which for those that don't know, it is I believe 5 p.m. if I'm doing my math correctly,
Correct.
and that's going to be Griffin versus Jin. Next day, again, 2 and 5. It's going to be
Yeah.
Brownblade Runaway, then OZ Awesome Spear. And then the last day,
Mm.
actually, it'll be 5 and then 8, I think. Yeah,
Yep,
8.
5 and 8.
5 and 8. It'll be Jin Green Wings versus Alma Mystic, and 8 o'clock, it'll be OZ versus Griffin. Make sure to stop
Mm-hmm.
by. They're all going to be great matches. I think they should all, in theory, be close. I expect all, hopefully, in a perfect world, all 2-1s this week. Hopefully. Fingers crossed.
You know,
Fingers crossed.
fingers crossed, dude. Because if they're all 2-1s, then I get to cast more games with you
Exactly.
because of my work schedule. So
Exactly. And I will try not to feel sick for day 3, and I will try to be here. But thanks so much, everybody, for coming by. It's been great.
Yeah.
Bye bye.
bye bye.